After Jinho reveals his desire to propose to Gina, Jinwoo is completely shocked by the unexpected news. Jinho shows him a diamond ring and asks if Gina would like it, while adding that he is serious about getting married. Jinwoo explains that he is not an expert when it comes to love. Jinho admits that he is unsure as well, and mentions that he has prepared a variety of gifts for Gina. He also shares that there is a new building under construction on his company's property, where Gina could open a clinic once she becomes a doctor. Jinwoo is surprised to hear about the building and guesses that it might cost 30 billion won. Jinho is shocked that Jinwoo estimated the exact price, and Jinwoo recalls how he was once offered the same building for the same price. Jinwoo wonders if this is fate and advises Jinho to show his good side and not try too hard to earn Gina's affection. Jinho becomes emotional as he realizes how much Jinwoo cares for him and requests a hug. Jinwoo firmly refuses, but Jinho jumps at him anyway to get the hug. Later, Jinwoo returns to his new house, which he bought after getting married. His son Suho gets excited to see him, and Cha-haen welcomes him back. Jinwoo is surprised that they are still waiting for him. Cha-haen questions why Jinwoo goes out for drinks when he does not even get drunk. Jinwoo explains that he met with Jinho to discuss something important. Cha-haen wonders if Jinho is finally ready to propose to Gina. Jinwoo responds that he is not sure and suggests that they should wait and see. Jinwoo questions why Suho is still awake late at night, and Cha-haen explains that he had a long nap during the day. Suddenly, Jinwoo sees his shadows arguing and asks Cha-haen if she knows the reason for their fight. Both Bellion and Igris are actually arguing about Suho's future career path. Igris suggests that Suho should become an academic scholar, as education is the real power in the human world. Bellion argues that Suho should be taught how to wield a sword, as it makes more sense for him to get used to weapons. Jinwoo tries to calm them down by explaining that he is not against either swordsmanship or studying, and requests them to wait until Suho can walk on his own. Cha-haen boldly asks Jinwoo to come home early until Suho can walk. Jinwoo nervously agrees to try coming home earlier. The next day, Jinwoo goes to the police station and meets with his chief. Manager Woo inquires about the rumor that Jinwoo has been investigating other officers' cases and advises him to keep it under control, as it might cause resentment among the other officers. Manager Woo addresses Jinwoo as Mr. Sung, and Jinwoo explains that he is no longer a hunter and does not need to be addressed formally. Manager Woo responds that he prefers to call him Mr. Sung, as it feels more comfortable. He mentions that the adoptive father of the woman who committed suicide has gone missing and asks if Jinwoo knows anything about it. Jinwoo denies knowing anything, and Manager Woo explains that all the security cameras around the father's house stopped working at the same time he disappeared. Jinwoo acts as if he does not understand what Manager Woo is implying and agrees that it is a strange coincidence. Manager Woo expresses his trust in Jinwoo's judgment and slides a note to him. Jinwoo looks at the note, and Manager Woo, unable to hold back his tears, explains that Chairman Go Gun-hee is in critical condition and shares his heartbreak over the chairman's health. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the hospital, where Chairman Go Gun-hee is receiving treatment for his illness. Jinwoo uses his shadow exchange skill to appear at the hospital. Chairman Go senses Jinwoo's presence and signals him to remove his oxygen mask. Jinwoo understands the request and takes it off. Chairman Go expresses his happiness to see Jinwoo again and mentions that he searched for him for a very long time. Jinwoo brings out the elixir of life, intending to cure his illness again. However, Chairman Go refuses and thanks Jinwoo for the extra 10 years he gained after drinking the elixir last time. He explains that he has completed everything he needed to do in those 10 years. Chairman Go requests a favor and asks Jinwoo to show him the memories of their past timeline when they fought the magic beasts together. He expresses his desire to see everything with his own eyes and to remember how he was in the past. Jinwoo warns him that the memories might not be pleasant, but Chairman Go insists. After hesitating, Jinwoo uses his magic to help him recall all his memories. Chairman Go remembers how he first met Jinwoo and how he became the chairman of the Korean Hunters Association. His body starts shaking and his heart pounds rapidly as he recalls the battles. He begins crying as he expresses how honored he feels to have fought alongside young heroes like Jinwoo. He remarks that his glorious memories will remain with him and keep his cold body warm forever. Suddenly, Chairman Go passes away. Jinwoo wipes his tears and hopes that Chairman Go Gun-hee will rest in peace. He reflects that someone who devoted their life to serving others is also a hero. Later, Jinwoo meets with Jinho again, but suddenly receives a call from Cha-haen. She nervously informs him that Suho is flying in the air and destroying the entire house. Both Igris and Bellion cheer for their little king. Jinwoo is shocked that his son is flying, and Jinho overhears the conversation. Jinho jokingly comments that Suho should have started walking the moment he was born, considering who his parents are. Cha-haen anxiously asks what she should do about Suho. Jinwoo reassures her not to worry and explains that he will teach Suho how to fly. Cha-haen is shocked to learn that Jinwoo can fly, and Jinwoo promises to come home early at least for today. Meanwhile, Igris and Bellion start arguing again about Suho's future. Bellion suggests teaching Suho how to fight in midair, while Igris proposes that Suho should become a pilot, while Cha-haen hopes that Jinwoo will come home as soon as possible. Meanwhile, after a few days, Beru recalls how Jinwoo was unafraid to fight him on Jeju Island, and notices that Suho also seems to have no fear of him. Suho excitedly looks at Beru, and Beru decides to walk away. However, Suho suddenly starts calling Beru an ant. Beru jumps away from Suho, but Suho begins following him. Beru wonders why Suho is always so eager to follow him, and Igris explains that the obvious reason is that the little king likes him. He adds that Beru, being a giant ant who can walk, fly, and talk, would naturally fascinate any child. Beru feels confused by Igris's explanation and heads to the world of shadows. He orders some changes to their plan and requests modifications to the statue. The bearded dwarf worries that they might need to rebuild the entire statue and fears it will not be ready for Jinwoo's 32nd birthday. Beru clarifies that he is not asking for a complete redesign, but only a few adjustments. He explains the modifications in detail. The bearded dwarves understand the requests and assure him that the new statue will be even grander. However, he requests additional workers to meet the deadline and suggests summoning a few demons from the demon castle. Beru agrees and excuses himself to attend to other matters. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a group of criminals planning to attack Jinwoo's family. One of them expresses fear about going against such a powerful police officer. The boss questions if they are scared to enter Jinwoo's house. The individual denies being afraid, and the boss explains that Jinwoo destroyed their organization and now he wants to do the same to Jinwoo's family. The boss decides to make it look like burglars killed Jinwoo's wife and child during the day. One of the criminals grows nervous after noticing that Jinwoo's house has no visible security despite being a large house. He feels as though Jinwoo is inviting them to rob and kill him. The boss reassures him and warns them not to make any mistakes. As they jump over the wall, the boss notices that two of their men are missing. Another criminal nervously claims he does not know what happened to them. Suddenly, Beru appears behind them. The boss assumes the missing men ran away out of fear of Jinwoo. Out of nowhere, Beru grabs the boss by the throat and orders him to stay silent and must not be disturbed. The boss struggles to escape, but all his attempts are futile. Beru looks into his eyes and recalls the same expression of fear he has seen in Prey facing a predator. He remarks that he enjoys how Jinwoo looks at him with trust and how Suho looks at him with curiosity. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the world of shadows, where the demons are helping to build Jinwoo's statue. The statue is finally completed, and based on Beru's advice, the bearded dwarves sculpt Jinwoo holding Suho. All the shadows celebrate the completion of the statue, and Beru becomes excited to show it to Suho when he is old enough to visit the shadow world. He decides to present it as a gift to Suho. Suddenly, Suho appears in the world of shadows and starts celebrating with the shadows. Beru is shocked to see Suho there and notices that he is following him everywhere he goes. A few years later, Cha-haen visits Suho's teacher. The teacher shows her a drawing made by Suho, and Cha-haen feels confused as it looks like an ordinary drawing. The teacher explains that Suho drew it when asked to sketch his friend. Cha-haen looks closer and notices that the drawing resembles Beru. The teacher shows more drawings where Suho was asked to draw his other friends, and he drew both Igris and Tusk. Cha-haen becomes nervous and struggles to explain her son's drawings. The teacher then shows a drawing Suho made of his family, which includes his parents and several shadows. The teacher reveals the main reason for calling Cha-haen and shows a drawing Suho made of his house. The drawing depicts his parents and many shadows protecting the house. The teacher explains that in her experience, she has never seen a child draw their family like this. When she asked Suho about the figures in the drawing, he explained that the house is where his friend's family and his giant dad live. The teacher initially worried that Suho might be suffering from abuse, but realized she was wrong as Suho always looks happy. She guesses that he might have an unusual talent for art. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the police station where Jinwoo receives a big promotion. This time, he decides to accept it, and his fellow officers congratulate him. Officer Lee asks why Jinwoo accepted the promotion this time. Jinwoo explains that he has run out of excuses to reject it. Officer Lee realizes that Jinwoo is a different kind of person and asks if he has any ambitions like getting promoted or earning a lot of money. Jinwoo recalls how he used to earn a lot of money when he was younger and wonders if Officer Lee would believe him if he told him about it. Jinwoo decides to treat Officer Lee to dinner as his rookie has been trying hard to impress him. Later, Jinwoo returns home and Cha-haen shows him Soho's drawings. Jinwoo is shocked by how talented his 5-year-old son is at drawing and realizes that Suho has a gift for art. Cha-haen angrily asks him to look at the last page. Jinwoo starts laughing when he sees the drawing. Cha-haen points out that Suho drew a picture of a giant dad in the dark land and demands to know why he is laughing so much. Jinwoo explains that he remembered something funny. Cha-haen expresses concern that other children are afraid of Suho and explains that their faces turn pale when they see him, even though he never hits or screams at them. Jinwoo understands that the children might be sensing the monarch's power in Suho, as children have sharper senses than adults. Jinwoo Jinwoo reflects that the only reason his own power did not cause a disaster is because it was passed to him by the system. Originally, it was a terrible power hidden in Ashbourne by the absolute being to annihilate everything he created. Jinwoo worries that Suho might not be able to live a normal life if the monarch's power within him continues to grow. He decides to suppress Suho's powers until he is old enough to control them. Jinwoo informs Cha-hae that he will erase all of Suho's memories of the Shadow Soldiers and seal away his powers until he learns to live peacefully with others. Jinwoo shows Suho's drawing to Beru and explains that Suho drew it for him. Beru looks at the drawing and realizes how much Suho loves him. Unable to hold back his tears, Beru requests to say a final goodbye to his little king. Beru goes to Suho's room and finds him dreaming about him. Beru cries even more and bids farewell to his little king on behalf of all the shadows. The rest of the shadows become emotional and hope that Suho will focus on his studies and live a healthy life. Jinwoo uses his magic to erase Suho's memories of the shadows and seals away his powers. Meanwhile, after a few years, Suho begins his first day of high school, and high school is the place where only the strongest can survive. All the students start getting to know each other, and among them is a student named Lee Eunchil. Two students approach Lee and try to befriend him. We can tell on the first day who will become friends and who will try to boss others around. Sungo approaches Lee and requests to be friends. Lee recalls hearing rumors about Sungo's tendency to commit crimes, but notices that Sungo does not seem like the type to do such things. Despite his doubts, Lee agrees to be friends with him. As Lee observes the dynamics of the class, he notices that the pecking order is already being established. But there is one problem. Suho looks at him with an intimidating gaze, and Lee becomes furious that Suho does not lower his eyes while looking at him. Sungo warns Lee not to mess with Suho, as he knows how strong Suho is and shares his experience from middle school. Lee glares at Sungo and demands to know if he wants to die. He drags Sungo to the back of the school and beats him to a pulp. Lee realizes that Sungo is weak and questions why he is defending Suho. Sungo explains that Suho was the strongest student in middle school and is not someone who can be taken down by either of them. He warns that getting on Suho's bad side could lead to something terrible. Lee becomes frustrated and continues slapping Sungo. He accuses Sungo of messing with him and punches him repeatedly. He remarks that if Suho were truly strong, he would have already heard about him. Suddenly, Suho appears and demands that Sungo explain to everyone that Sungo himself beat Lee and the others if anyone asks, just like how they used to do in middle school. Suho walks toward them and remarks that the fight would simply be considered self-defense. Sungo agrees to Suho's demand. Without warning, Suho kicks one of Lee's friends in the stomach. The other friend is stunned by Suho's speed. Suho wastes no time and kicks the second friend in the face. Lee becomes nervous as he watches both of his friends get knocked out in a matter of seconds. He tries to fight back with a punch, but Suho slams him to the ground effortlessly and continues hitting him with a death glare. Suho finishes Lee with a powerful kick to the face. All three of them are knocked out in no time. Suho orders Sungo to clean up the mess, and Sungo agrees, thinking it is a good deal if everyone believes he took down 3 classmates. The rest of the class hears about Sungo's supposed victory and praises his judo skills. Meanwhile, Suho starts feeling bored with his life. He feels like there used to be more exciting and interesting things happening when he was a kid. He decides to visit an arcade to pass the time. As he tries to open the door, he is shocked to find that time has stopped. Out of nowhere, a gate spawns inside his classroom, and Suho begins shaking nervously. He tries to calm himself and remembers how his mom always says he takes after his dad. He wonders what his dad would do in his place. Gathering his courage, he steps inside the gate and walks slowly forward. He finds himself in a dungeon, and the portal closes behind him. Realizing he cannot go back, he decides to move forward. As Suho moves deeper into the dungeon, he suddenly receives a system notification about a weapons stat. Startled by the notification, he begins receiving more notifications about other weapon stats. He starts to feel like he is inside a game. He examines the weapons and notices that he can only pick weapons based on his level. He guesses that he will be able to pick more powerful weapons once he levels up. Among the weapons are the Demon King's longsword and the 12th Prince's sword. Suho notices other weapons hanging in the corner and assumes they are not useful. He finds a bunch of gauntlets in the corner and decides to try one, and gets excited to use the gauntlets as he finds swords boring. Another system notification appears showing his stats. He starts at level 1 with the title of Little Monarch and just 100 HP points. Suho slowly steps deeper into the dungeon and discovers a massive number of knights standing in formation. He wonders if the place might be an underground floor of a castle. Suddenly, one of the knights attacks him without warning. Suho senses the attack and blocks it using his gauntlet. Shocked by the sudden assault, he prepares to to fight back. The two engage in a fierce battle as the knight charges at him. Suho finally breaks the knight into pieces and levels up. He recalls that there are many more knights ahead and notices that the rest of the knights begin moving toward him, completely surrounding him. The knights charge at him, but Suho fights back and breaks every single one of them, leveling up by 3 levels. Suho observes that there are still many knights left and continues fighting. He charges at them, breaking one knight's head with a single strike. Another knight attempts to slice him, but Suho leaps away just in time. He counters with a powerful kick and keeps leveling up, reaching level 19 in no time. He understands that defeating the knights allows him to level up and grow stronger, remarking that it feels like a game. After finishing all the knights, he reflects on how he was able to take on more knights with each fight, even though he struggled against them at lower levels. He realizes that the power of the gauntlet helped him defeat the knights. Determined to grow even stronger, Suho reaches the end of the dungeon and finds a large door. He opens the door and all the torches suddenly light up. He sees someone waiting for him on a throne. Suho feels the overwhelming energy coming from the dungeon boss as Igris rises and welcomes him to begin the battle. Suho feels nervous as he prepares to make the first move. However, Igris does not give him a chance and dashes forward with incredible speed. Suho is stunned by Igris's speed as he slashes at him with his sword, destroying the entire dungeon in the process. Suddenly, Suho wakes up and finds himself back at the start of the dungeon. He begins shaking nervously, confused about how he is still alive. Suho realizes that he has returned to where he started and understands that he must walk the same path again. He notices that one of the torches is out and recalls that all 3 torches were lit when he first arrived. He wonders if this is a coincidence, but soon understands that it is not. Determined to improve, he chooses a better weapon, selecting needle-knuckle type gauntlets of a higher rank and steps cautiously back into the dungeon. He worries that something might happen if all 3 torches go out. Once again, he loses the fight against Igris and returns to the same spot. This time, he notices that the second torch has gone out. He realizes that the torches represent his number of chances he gets and starts rolling on the floor in frustration. He knows that Igris is far too powerful for him to handle and becomes irritated by his inability to defeat the Black Knight. Suho finds a sword similar to the one Igris used against him. The system notifies him that the sword is the Demon King's longsword and reveals that its rank is 60. Suho grabs every weapon he can handle and decides to level up before facing Igris again. As he moves forward, he encounters another group of knights walking toward him. Feeling irritated about fighting the knights for the 3rd time, he wonders how they keep resurrecting. He realizes that the knights have the ability to regenerate infinitely. Suho begins smashing the knights using all the new weapons he has collected. Suddenly, a knight attacks him with an arrow, but Suho dashes at the knight in an instant and strikes it with a powerful punch, sending it crashing to the ground. Suho continues leveling up with each attack and suddenly receives a system notification that he has reached the required level for a job change quest and sees 2 large portals open. The system informs him that he will earn more points the longer he stays alive and that he needs to accumulate enough points to advance to higher ranks. As the timer starts, a large number of knights emerge from the portals. Suho feels excited to face the knights, knowing that he can level up even more before focusing on Igris. Suddenly, a mage launches a massive flame attack at Suho, and he quickly jumps away. He is shocked by the intensity of the flames, and the rest of the mages combine their powers to create an even larger flame capable of destroying the entire dungeon. Suho starts sweating as he faces the overwhelming flames and uses his shield to stop the attack. He barely manages to withstand it and becomes exhausted. The mages do not give him any chance to recover and summon a large magic beast. Suho throws away his shield, deciding not to rely on it anymore. He charges at the summoned beast and strikes it from all directions and breaks it into countless pieces. Suho throws all his remaining swords at the knights and follows up with an arrow attack, killing one of them. He suddenly appears behind another knight and slices it with a dagger. He throws his final 2 daggers at the remaining knights and smashes them to the ground. After getting rid of all his weapons, Suho decides to fight with his bare hands, thinking that a man should only need his fists to fight an enemy. He destroys most of the knights and levels up again. The system notifies him that he has qualified for a high-ranking job due to the large number of points he has acquired. It begins analyzing his points to assign an appropriate job title. The system assigns him the fighter class, noting that Suho does not experience fear and trusts his ability to move forward. He is awarded extra points for lasting longer than expected, and with his total promotion points exceed the achievement limit. His job title changes from fighter to soul striker. Suho understands that he needs more strength to defeat Igris. The system warns him that the knights will regenerate if he does not leave the portal. Determined to grow stronger, he continues fighting and levels up further, obtaining a warden's necklace and a high-ranking mage ring. With his new strength, Suho returns to face Igris and gets confident that he can win this time. As he has reached level 70, Igris attacks with a powerful strike using his sword, and Suho is stunned by the intensity of the attack. He barely blocks it, and the two begin fighting fiercely. Suho attempts to hit Igris with a powerful punch, but Igris blocks the attack and the punch destroys the entire floor. Suho dashes forward and Igris counters with multiple sword strikes. Suho barely dodges the attacks, but understands that his current strength is not enough to defeat Igris. He pushes himself to move even faster, but Igris suddenly strikes again with his sword. Suho blocks the attack, but is still thrown back by its force. He gets back up and leaps away as Igris charges at him for another attack. Suho counters with a powerful punch, and though Igris blocks it, Igris feels the immense strength behind Suho's attack and is stunned by how much stronger Suho has become, even though most of his powers are still sealed. The battle continues as Suho dodges every single attack from Igris. Suho feels the overwhelming strength radiating from Igris and understands that the Black Knight is on an entirely different level. Igris attacks again, and Suho blocks it, but is pushed back by the sheer force. He recalls how he gained extra stat points at level 1 and how he was able to defeat the knights with ease despite not fully understanding the rules of the game. He realizes that all his stats have increased by 1 point every time he leveled up. Factoring in all the extra stats he has gained, he calculates that he is effectively at level 110 instead of level 70. The system notifies him once more, awarding him an additional 40 points to further boost his abilities as he inherits the power of the Shadow Monarch. Suho continues attacking Igris and punches him to the ground. He follows up with another punch that shatters the entire floor. Suho lands multiple punches on Igris, and Igris tries to strike back. However, Suho dodges the counterattack and delivers another powerful punch that sends Igris flying. The continuous barrage of attacks from Suho begins to crack Igris's body. Igris observes that Suho possesses an incredible amount of potential, even though he does not yet know how to use his power properly. He is in disbelief that the little monarch can already fight at such a high level. Suho leaps at Igris and lands another powerful punch. Accepting his defeat, Igris fades away. Suho becomes overjoyed that he has finally defeated the Black Knight and levels up by 6 levels. Suddenly, another gate spawns, and Suho assumes it might be the exit of the dungeon. He steps through the portal and finds himself in a building engulfed in flames. He encounters Cerberus, a massive black dog with 3 heads that serves as the gatekeeper of the demon castle. Suho feels slightly confused as the enemy seems weak. Cerberus tries to intimidate him with a fiery glare, but Suho does not flinch. Cerberus begins sweating and retreats. Suho thinks the 3-headed dog is not a monster, but rather an ugly statue. He wonders why the entire place is on fire and moves forward to find another door. Opening the door, he discovers another floor of burning buildings filled with demons determined to kill him. Suho easily defeats all of them and advances to the 10th floor. On the 10th floor, the enemies are extremely weak, and Suho kills them instantly with a single punch. He starts losing interest as the same thing happens on the 30th floor. When he faces a boss on the 50th floor, he defeats it with just a few punches. Suho grows bored as the enemies remain weak even on higher floors. He wonders if defeating Igris caused him to level up too much. Despite his boredom, he continues defeating demons with ease even on the 87th floor. Eventually, Suho reaches the 100th floor and assumes it will also be easy for him. Suddenly, he sees Esil waiting for him. Determined not to waste any time, Suho charges at her. Esil's startled by his sudden attack and requests him to stop and wait. Esil explains that Shadow Monarch took a significant amount of time to reach the 100th floor and admits that they never expected Suho to reach it so quickly without the help of shadows. She adds that Suho was unable to reach this level last time. Suho feels confused hearing the phrase last time. Esil quickly realizes that his memories were erased and dismisses her comment saying it is nothing. She introduces herself as Esil, the eldest daughter of the powerful Radiru clan, and explains that this is the final stage of the demon castle. Suho asks if there are no more stages left to clear. Esil explains that there used to be a final battle with the Demon King, but he was already defeated, and that their clan became the head of the demons. She congratulates him for clearing the demon castle and invites him to join them for a banquet. She adds that the head of the clan has prepared a grand celebration in his honor. Suho notices a gate and asks Esil about it. Esil explains that it is a gate that can be used to leave the demon castle. Suho becomes curious about how gates are able to connect to another space and decides to exit the demon castle. Esil asks if he is planning to leave already without attending the banquet. Suho responds that he is unsure what demons eat and that he is too young to drink alcohol. He promises to return when he is older. Esil recalls how Jinwoo said the same thing but never returned to the demon castle and feels disheartened that the Shadow Monarch did not come back. Suho promises to remember her name forever and assures her that he will see her again. Ezil remembers the same words Jinwoo said before leaving and starts laughing at how Suho shares similar traits with his father. Meanwhile, Suho steps into the gate and worries whether it is an exit or a trap. He finds himself surrounded by a large number of ants and realizes that the game is not over. The ants swarm toward him and Suho tries to escape, but they catch up to him quickly. He is shocked by their speed and decides to fight back. Suho begins killing every single ant and levels up rapidly as he gains a lot of experience points from them. Suho eventually becomes accustomed to fighting the ants and decides to move forward to the door leading to the final dungeon boss. He enters the room and notices that the room is massive. He wonders if the boss is enormous given the size of the room. Suddenly Beru appears and starts walking toward him. Suho realizes that Beru is the only enemy left in the dungeon and notices that Beru is crying. He becomes confused about why the monster is crying upon seeing him. Beru prepares to fight and charges at Suho. The two begin battling as Beru slashes at him with his claws. Suho swiftly dodges the attack and counters, but Beru also evades his strike. Beru charges at him again, but suddenly halts his attack. Suho becomes even more confused about why Beru is not attacking and takes the opportunity to hit him back. Beru charges at Suho to attack again, and Suho tries to block the attack, but Beru stops in mid-air once more. Suho becomes confused and strikes Beru hard in the face. Beru uses healing magic to recover and rushes at him again in an attempt to attack. Suho dodges the attack as Beru continues crying and hesitates to fight his little king. Suho takes the opportunity to land a powerful punch. Beru roars in frustration, blaming himself for letting his guard down while fighting against his little king, and suddenly collapses to the ground. Suho is shocked by Beru's behavior, but feels relieved that the boss has given up the fight. He understands that Beru is incredibly powerful and felt intimidated while fighting him. He wonders why Beru hesitated so much during the battle and gave him so many openings. Suho feels sore all over the body and is relieved that he barely managed to defeat Beru. Suddenly, another gate spawns, and Suho reaches level 99 after defeating Beru. He guesses that he might finally return home as he believes he cannot level up any further. After stepping through the gate, he finds himself facing a large number of giants and dragons. Feeling frustrated that he has to fight again, he charges at the dragon and begins attacking the magic beasts. One of the beasts attempts to strike him with a trident, but Suho dodges and counters with a powerful hit. A giant tries to slash him, but Suho senses the attack and leaps away just in time. He dashes at the giant and delivers a powerful strike that makes it cough blood. Two orcs and two snow bear magic beasts tries to attack him, but Suho smashes the orc's weapon and continues defeating every single orc with powerful punches. The orcs attempt to flee, but Suho chases after them. Suddenly, three orcs charge at him, and Suho barely dodges their attack. An orc, along with a dragon, attempt to devour him from behind, but Suho slides away and notices a large number of magic beasts surrounding him. Realizing that the beasts expect him to fight them in mid-air, he charges at an orc and takes it down with a powerful strike. Suho continues attacking every single magic beast in mid-air and grabs hold of a dragon, using it to raid on it. As he fights, he notices a large number of titans surrounding him. One of the titans recalls how he joined the world of Eternal Slumber 30 years ago and feels proud to participate in a game reserved for commander-level magic beasts. The titan believes that Jinwoo favors him and feels confident that Suho cannot handle his power. To his surprise, Suho takes him down with a single punch. Suho hears something faint and begins breaking all the titans with continuous attacks. Suddenly, Tusk uses his Hymn of Gravitation skill to slam Suho to the ground. Suho feels the overwhelming force crushing him and looks up to see Tusk using magic. He guesses that Tusk is behind the attack and remembers how Igris, Beru, and Tusk all have the same type of shadow rippling around them. He assumes that they might be the bosses of each gate. He tries to recall if there is a fourth member with similar traits, but Tusk interrupts his thoughts by using magic to crush him to the ground again. Suho is completely shocked by the attack and begins formulating a plan to defeat Tusk. Suddenly, three dragon shadows appear and attack him with their fire breath. Suho realizes that he miscalculated the number of shadows and is in disbelief that there are three additional shadows in the same gate. All three dragon shadows unleash their breath attacks, covering the entire dungeon in flames. However, Suho emerges from the flames and attacks one of the dragon shadows. He quickly defeats the remaining two shadows in a matter of seconds. Suho charges at them again, but Tusk uses his Hymn of Gravitation to slam him to the ground once more. Suho retreats and leaps to attack one of the orcs. He decides to eliminate the weaker magic beasts first before focusing on the shadows. To his surprise, Tusk creates a massive flame ball using the Orb of Avarice and launches it at him. Suho barely dodges the attack as the flames destroy an entire mountain, leaving a massive hole in it. Suho is stunned by the sheer destruction and watches as Tusk smirks, remarking that his flame attack looks incredible and that using a cane makes his explosions appear even grander. Suho feels relieved that he dodged the attack and laughs in disbelief as he witnesses Tusk's true strength. Meanwhile, Suho focuses on the other magic beasts and begins eliminating them one by one. He leaps toward a titan and crushes its head before finishing off another giant. Suddenly, he notices a large number of shadow soldiers. One of the titan shadows becomes frustrated and recalls how Suho tried to take him down last time with a single punch. The titan declares that he will not be defeated so easily again. Without hesitation, Suho charges at him and delivers a powerful kick. Another shadow soldier reflects on how far he has come by putting in hard work and expresses his desire to be recognized by his king through a significant contribution to the battle, even though no one will remember his name. Suho leaps at the soldier and strikes him with a powerful punch, causing the soldier to scream in pain. Suho understands that he cannot last long in the battle with his current strength if the monsters keep coming at him. He realizes that he needs to control his power with better accuracy to handle an army of monsters. He creates large hands made of mana and unleashes continuous beam attacks on the magic beasts. Tusk blocks the attack using shield magic, but Suho suddenly appears behind him. Suho warns Tusk to leave if he has no more tricks left and states that he does not like ending battles this way. Suho delivers a powerful punch and Tusk loses the fight and fades away. An overwhelming aura surrounds Suho as he emits a large amount of mana. He notices that he has become much better at using his power after fighting so many battles, even though his stats have not increased. Suddenly, Bellion appears and begins walking slowly towards Suho. Suho realizes that Bellion is much stronger than Beru and becomes excited at the chance to talk to him. He asks Bellion a question before they start fighting and inquires about the percentage of magic beasts he has fought so far. Bellion informs him that he has only fought 1 in 3,000 of the magic beasts gathered at this level, excluding the soldiers from the demon castle. Suho realizes that he has not defeated many magic beasts and prepares to fight Bellion. He challenges Bellion to begin the battle. Bellion acknowledges that his little king has grown into a splendid young man and attempts to slash him. Suho leaps away just in time and questions why all the shadows call him the little king. He charges at Bellion and tries to land a punch, but Bellion blocks the attack with his sword. Suho asks if the title of Little King has something to do with why he was dragged into this world and why they keep referring to him as Little. He becomes furious, thinking the shadows are mocking him by referring him as Little. Suddenly, Bellion appears behind him and slashes him with his sword. Suho is shocked to see the sword moving like a centipede. Bellion continues attacking, but Suho dodges every strike. He observes how Bellion uses his sword like a centipede and tries to counter with punches while blocking the attacks. Suho realizes that he needs to grab hold of the weapon to stop it and attempts a powerful kick. Bellion blocks the kick with both arms, giving Suho an opening to attack his stomach. Suho punches Bellion hard in the stomach, causing him to slide back from the impact. Suho notices that his attacks are not enough to defeat Bellion and remarks that they would have to fight all day if they continue like this. He senses that Bellion is not the master of this place and suddenly feels the presence of a powerful being riding a dragon shadow. Suho realizes that the individual on the dragon is the boss of this place. The individual jumps down to the ground, radiating an overwhelming aura. Suho prepares himself for the fight. The individual draws daggers, and Suho notices one of them. He tries to start a conversation, thinking he can talk things out since the individual looks more human. However, the individual remains silent. He realizes that this fight will be his final battle. Suho powers up and becomes excited at the thought of going home after defeating the individual. He dashes toward the opponent, and the individual charges at him as well. Their punches collide, marking the beginning of their intense battle. Then the individual attacks Suho multiple times using the dagger, and Suho notices that the individual is incredibly fast and strong. He observes that every attack and move the individual makes is sophisticated and precise. The individual smashes Suho to the ground and charges forward to attack him with the dagger. Suho tries to block the attack and feels overwhelmed by the incredible skill of his opponent. He wonders how many battles and how much training it would take to become as skilled as the individual. The individual slices Suho multiple times and smashes him to the ground again. Suho refuses to let the individual defeat him despite his overwhelming skill. He believes in his combat abilities and remembers how his stats have reached their peak level. Determined to win, he charges forward to land a punch, but the individual slashes him multiple times in an instant. The attack completely shatters his gauntlet, and Suho begins shaking nervously as he witnesses the individual's overwhelming power. He expresses his respect for the enemy and resolves to become as powerful as him. He charges again to to land a punch with his other hand, but the individual swiftly dodges the attack. Suddenly, the individual starts patting Suho's head and asks if he had fun playing the game. Suho becomes confused after hearing that their battle was just a game. The individual praises Suho for his impressive performance. In that moment, Suho realizes that the individual is his father. Suddenly, Jinwoo pushes Suho out of the gate and tells him that he still has a long way to go. Suho tries to look at his father again before leaving, but suddenly wakes up to find himself back in the classroom. He begins wondering if the entire battle, the dungeon, and the final boss being his father were all just a wild dream. He thinks that he might have been playing too many games lately. Suddenly, his classmate opens the door and is shocked to see Suho still inside the classroom. She informs him that she is about to lock up the classroom. Suho offers to help her, and she accepts his assistance. Meanwhile, Jinwoo watches everything from the top of the building, along with his shadows. He feels grateful that the remnants of the architect still exist in the world of eternal slumber, and reflects that using it for a game was a good idea. Igris wonders if it is the right time to return all of Suho's powers, since he has gone through multiple tests and managed to reach Jinwoo for the final battle for the first time. He believes that Suho has passed the test. Jinwoo explains that having power alone is not enough to defeat an overwhelming enemy, and gives the example of Antares. He questions if he could have defeated the Dragon King with power alone. He further explains that when facing a powerful enemy, one should retreat if victory is not guaranteed, and that fighting a strong opponent without a plan is foolishness. Jinwoo believes it is still too early to return Suho's powers, and feels confident that his son will eventually learn how to use his powers based on the situation. He adds that even if Suho does not know now, he will always have the opportunity to take on new challenges. Beru starts crying as he looks at the drawing Suho made when he was a child. Jinwoo decides to take his family out for dinner. Meanwhile, Hwang Dong-suk and Hwang Dong-soo, the con artist brothers who caused chaos across the country, are arrested in the afternoon. At the same time, a large fire breaks out in the mountains. 800 firefighters with trucks are sent to the scene and successfully put out the fire, saving the neighboring residential areas from being affected. Baek Yoon-ho feels exhausted after helping to extinguish the fire. Suddenly, Sung Il-hwan offers him a water bottle. Baek Yoon-ho admires their captain Sung Il-hwan for still having energy after putting out such a massive fire, and hopes to become like him one day. As he looks up, he notices a dragon flying in the sky, but Sung and Il-hwan dismisses it as just an airplane. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Jinho, and his staff member urges him to come up with a name for their new virtual reality game that the company is about to release. Jinho ignores the request and happily announces that his wife is pregnant and the baby is 6 weeks old. Everyone congratulates him for finally becoming a father. Jinho suggests naming the new game Beautiful World. The staff is shocked by the name, and Jinho explains that it fits perfectly as the game provides a beautiful virtual world for players. The staff urges him to think of a different name since the company's future depends on the game. Jinho realizes that he is terrible at naming games and considers asking Jinwoo for a suggestion, but doubts Jinwoo would be any better at it. Jinho reassures them not to worry about the company's future, as they have a new investor. Everyone is surprised by the news, and Jinho reveals that the new investor is the famous Choi Jong-in, one of the biggest names in the gaming industry. Meanwhile, out of nowhere, a gate cracks open in the sky. The story shifts back to the past timeline and focuses on the General Affairs Division of the Hunters Association. An individual receives a call, and the caller angrily confronts him for ignoring his request not to send Jinwoo. The individual feels slightly shocked, but calmly explains that it might have been a mistake during the raid team formation. He asks the caller to provide more details about Hunter Sung. The caller becomes even angrier and insists that he does not want Jinwoo in his raid team. He questions what he should do if Jinwoo dies during a raid, and warns that he will quit if Jinwoo is sent to his team again. The individual reflects on how common it has become in South Korea for students to dream about working in one of 3 career paths. Students often aspire to become famous hunters, employees at major guilds, or employees at the Hunters Association. He knows that most of these students will end up doing menial jobs regardless of the career path they choose. He recalls the types of calls he usually receives, such as hunters asking for advance payments or requesting help to pick up their children from school. He gets curious about Jinwoo and decides to check his profile, and is shocked to find that Jinwoo has been injured numerous times during previous raids. He discovers that Jinwoo is an E-rank hunter with mana levels comparable to an ordinary civilian. He wonders why Jinwoo continues working as a hunter despite his weak abilities, and learns that Jinwoo is supporting his mother, who is suffering from eternal slumber, and his younger sister, who is still still in high school. The individual checks Jinwoo's age and finds that he's just 26 years old and that he is 6 years younger than himself. He approaches his supervisor and asks if they should persuade Jinwoo to quit being a hunter. The supervisor explains that they have already tried to make him quit. The supervisor then asks the individual why he joined the Hunters Association. The individual shares that he decided to join after hearing the story of a hunter who was trapped inside a dungeon while trying to save his fellow hunters. He explains that he always wondered who would help the hunters who always risk their lives to save others. He decided to step up and do whatever he could to keep hunters from getting killed or hurt. The supervisor questions whether he now wants to make Hunter Sung quit or help him. The individual realizes that there is little he can do to help Jinwoo other than advising him to quit. The supervisor offers a solution to help Hunter Sung and gives him a list of profiles of individuals who awakened as high-rank hunters but chose not to become hunters. He advises the individual to convince these people to join the association. The individual looks at Lee Juhee's profile and notices that she is a B-rank healer. The supervisor explains that Lee Juhee did not join the association because she fears magic beasts, despite having the ability to do so. He compares her to Jinwoo, who overcame his fears to enter the gates despite being weak. The supervisor adds that turning these hunters' fears into courage could help weaker people. The individual understands that this approach could support hunters who have already chosen to step into the worlds beyond the gate. Meanwhile, the story shifts back to the new timeline, where Suho plays rock, paper, scissors with his classmate and loses. His classmate teases him for being bad at the game and orders him to carry her bag. Suho agrees and suddenly senses something unusual. He looks up at the sky and his classmate asks if something is wrong. Suho dismisses her concern and says it is nothing. The scene then shifts to Jinwoo and Cha-haen as they prepare for a final raid on Kaisel, just like they did in the past timeline. Cha-haen comments that it has been a while since she has seen the view. Jinwoo gives her a gift for their 16th wedding anniversary and requests her to go home first, promising to join her later. They share a kiss, and Cha-haen asks him to promise that he will not take too long to return. Jinwoo assures her, as she requested, and Cha-haen leaves for home. Jinwoo turns to face the massive gate and summons all his shadows.